Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Pat Ziemer here with MagnaWave Office Hours. Tony, I got a message. They're having, to the certified practitioner group, having some trouble doing the stream. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, sorry. A little message there on the screen as we're getting started. Pat Ziemer here with MagnaWave, Tuesday edition of the MagnaWave Office Hours. We're here to answer your questions, whatever they may be about PEMF, MagnaWave in general, machines, training, whatever it may be, protocols, indications, anything that you'd like to talk about. We're here to have those conversations with you. If you'd like to talk with me, simply send a text to 502-414-3436. I'll get the text. I'll be able to call you back, and we can have a conversation again about whatever it is that you would like to discuss. I really like doing it that way because we quite often go deeper into our conversations when we can talk on the phone together. So please, if you'd like to talk about something, send me a text. I will call you back and we will have a conversation. I do have a carryover call from last week that we will make. Someone who I could not get on the program last week to have the conversation that they wanted to have. So we'll be doing that in just a second. There was a question that was posted into the practitioner group about Cushing's. A person has a dog that has Cushing's, and they wanted to know. They did some research and found a lot of different conversations and testimonials about Cushing's with regard to equine and horses, and they didn't see a lot on the animals. They're all pituitary in basis and are hormonally based, whether it's in a dog or a horse. It typically has a little different visibility and shows up differently in a horse and laminitis and long hair, so on and so forth, longer coat, as opposed to similar situations in a dog that can also be there, but they do show up a little differently. And the basis is what we can do, or what we would think. Do we specifically treat Cushing's? I wouldn't go there. That's not what we're about, is diagnosing whether we can work on a specific indication or a specific disease. However, what MagnaWave does do, the PEMF does facilitate the body to be in a better situation to control itself. We often say that the body's in a better situation to heal itself. It's also in a better situation to potentially control itself when the blood flow is good, when the blood oxygenation is good, basically allowing the blood cells to be healthier so they can better do their job and approach the body in a more healthy fashion. So allowing the body then to be more normal. And so that's what we're looking for as we utilize PEMF on these animals, on the small animals and the horses that we're dealing with. So and so often people want to separate. Well, if it worked on Cushing's in a horse, will it work on Cushing's in a dog? What it's doing is it's making the animal's blood flow healthier and the blood cells healthier, allowing the body, as I've said, to better be reactionary and to better heal itself, or to be in a more healthier state. And that crosses over. If it works in small animals, it'll work in large animals. If it works in people, quite often it will work in animals, because we're doing the same thing across the board. Revitalizing, providing resilience. That's a key word that a lot of people are talking about today, is resilience with regard to longevity of life, with regard to health in life. How resilient are we? And we want to help the body and the blood to be very resilient, better healthful in what it's doing. And that's basically where we're coming from. So the fact that you maybe didn't see something, because so much of our research, or not research, but use and testimonials and research also over the years has been directly related to equine, to horses. But now, as you know, we're getting into small animals, pigs, eagles, birds, everything, reptiles, everything, to be able to help this overall body health. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're all about. So just think, if it's beneficial here, there's a good possibility it can be beneficial to the body on the other side of the spectrum. So that's the question that was asked, and I wanted to just kind of come back and address that. Let me come to our phone here. Let's make a call and see if we can get Charlotte on the line. Charlotte's in Arizona. So we're ringing up. Should be calling Charlotte in Arizona. Good morning to those of you on Castbox. Thanks for being with us also.
Good morning.
Hey, Charlotte, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Make sure your speakers are turned down on your computer.
Oh.
That way you will not get the feedback, and we'll be able to talk, because there is a little bit of a delay.
Okay.
Good. Now, how can I help you?
I turned my speakers off.
Perfect. Okay, how can I help you? You had a question.
I do. I'm new. I've almost finished all of my certification.
Great.
And my question is regarding, I was really fascinated by the effect on the blood cells. Mm-hmm. And a question was posed to me that how does PEMF affect cancer cells? Is there any studies that have been done on that?
There are studies that have been done. There are studies that are certainly ongoing. I can tell you that there is a device. It's called the Optune. It is used for glioblastoma, cancer, brain tumors. And they found that it is very efficient in improving the quality of life in those clients and those patients, and in many cases retarding the development of the tumors. And so now to go down further than that, to speak about being a cure, I'm not going to go there and don't know that. But so there are a lot of issues out there that have been addressed with regard to cancer cells. The thing that I can say, and people are more and more talking about it, and they're learning about it, and this was really not part of the conversation 15 or 20 years ago when we started, but it's felt that cancer cells hate oxygen. They like to live in the absence of oxygen. So if we can do something to improve the oxygenation of the body, of the cells, then they are better situated to do their job to fight the cancer cells. Quite often when the chemotherapy is utilized and other forms of therapy are utilized, what they're doing is they're killing the cells that are kind of protecting the cancer cells, allowing at that point the oxygen of the body to fight those cancer cells. And that's basically what's happening, is we're trying to improve the oxygenation of the body so the body's in a better position to be defensive and to approach and to go after those types of situations. Does that help? Did we lose Charlotte? Let's try to get Charlotte back. Looks like we lost Charlotte. We're calling her back. I hope she can hear that because she turned her speakers off. Let's see if we get her back.
Yeah.
Hey, okay. Charlotte, I lost you.
I lost you for a minute there, but yes, that helps very much. I was in a conversation. I'm a EMT firefighter. Okay. And so I've been discussing MagnaWave with the crews, and so asking them to ask me questions about it so I can answer intelligently. And that was very, very helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anything else?
No, but I will continue watching. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlotte. Thanks. Great question. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. So there you go. We certainly need to always take a look at that and at those types of situations. And again, without being redundant, and I apologize for those of you who've heard me say this a million times, what we're basically doing is we're taking the cell wall. It becomes more permeable when the magnetic field is there presented to the cells, allowing for better oxygen uptake into the cells, release of toxins from the cells. We talk about detoxifying in those types of situations, allows for better nutrient uptake into the cells, whatever that may be, whether it's a medication, whether it's just nutrients for health. That's what we see, and that's what happens in those types of situations. So great question. Appreciate the question from Charlotte. If you have a question you'd like to talk with me, send a text to 502-414-3436. I will call you back and we can have a conversation to discuss whatever it is that you'd like to talk about. Let me come over here to StreamYard and go to comments. Oh, we got some comments. Let me go back to the beginning. Northern Lights is with us. Tracy's with us today. Leani is with us. Hello. MagnaWave Corporate certainly is with us today. Let's see if we have questions. Paula's with us. Dawn's with us. Kathy's with us. Jocelyn's with us from California. Connecticut. Paula's in Connecticut. Let's see. All right, here's a question. Can you explain how PEMF works with a leaky gut and how to treat? Does it help and about how long before any notice in the difference? Well, you got to look at what's causing the issue. You got to understand what it is. And of course, the veterinarians and the docs can work with you in those kind of regards. But that goes back to the other question that we were talking about before. What does it take to heal or to help things heal? Good oxygenated blood. And so if we can improve the blood flow and the blood oxygenation in the body, it can approach these types of situations. Now, if it becomes anatomical, we're not going to change an anatomical situation. That needs to be changed quite often in a physical type of advancement on the body or something like that. But if it's something that can be nurtured with the body trying to heal itself, then we want to try to set the body up, be in a better position to do that. Great question, Kathy. I appreciate you asking that. Let me see how to remove this here. There we go. Text your name to 502-414-3436 with your question, and I will call you back. Great question, Kathy. Thank you so much. Sherry is with us from Texas. Rianne is with us from Kiowa, Colorado. Great. Thank you for being with us. Rob's with us. What are we at? Where are you at these days? I want to know if she's in Hawaii or Aiken or California. I believe she's still in California, getting ready to move to Aiken to be out there with the polo horses and the polo players. Let's see. Another question. If you folks have a question, please put it in the chat box. I'd be happy to have a look at it and answer it. Hazel's with us on Castbox this morning. Some other folks have joined us on Castbox. Castbox is the radio type of alternative where you can click the link. Perhaps I can put the link in the chat box here. And if you'd like to listen to us on the road as you're going along in the future on Castbox, you can certainly do that. Hi, Wendy. Wendy writes, hi, Pat. So thank you for being with us, Wendy. Let me see if there's anything else. We're down to about the last comment there. So if you got a question, put it in there. I'll answer. If you don't have any questions, then we're not going to wrap up at 12:13, but we do want to certainly answer the questions that you have. I've been doing a lot of reading. I'm a fan of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and a lot of things. Read that book years and years and years ago and learned a lot from it. But I just been reading about what we can learn and how we can grow together. And it really occurred to me this weekend, the value of this presentation on Tuesdays, that we can learn from each other. There's so much education out there in this group that is just phenomenal. The things that you have learned, the experiences you've had, the issues that we've discussed on this program or you've talked about at MagnaCon and other types of meetings that you've had just immensely increases the knowledge that we have. And I've been all weekend, I've been sitting, and the weekend was beautiful. I hope you had a nice holiday weekend and you enjoyed it and got to have some fun with family and friends. But I've been thinking all weekend, our office is the title Office Hours Appropriate, or best. Is there a different title that we could use to talk about community? Maybe it's the community hours, or maybe whatever. So maybe if you have some thoughts on that, throw it up there and we can talk about it. But I've just been, I kind of think about office hours became when I was in college, and I went to my instructor's office when he or she was going to be there to have discussions about whether or not I was in class, out of class, going to class, paying attention in class, or whatever was happening at that point in time. A lot, let me tell you. But we would have these visits, and I've thought about that at the beginning because as I've shared with you in the past, so much in the beginning when I was on the road for the 3 to 4 years, pretty much championing this therapy around the country. We would make 2 cycles around the country a year, starting, if you'd say so, in Florida and coming up the East Coast across the north, and then down into across the country into Oklahoma, Phoenix, California, and then back across Texas, or back across the New Mexico and Texas and Mississippi and all the states, heading back to Florida to start over. And we would do that basically twice a year. Leslie's with us in Colorado. And so at that point, it was the experience that I was gleaning myself and what I was learning, and then I could begin to share. Today, it is so deep as we have more and more veterinarians on board, more and more massage therapists, more and more practitioners that have become very professional in what they're doing and how they're presenting our therapy and complementary therapies to the marketplace and helping a lot of people. So I'm just thinking about ways we can do that to have better and more interaction amongst ourselves. Angela asked the question, how do you stay certified and turn in credits so they are certified? I started in February and want to make sure that I stay certified. Hi, Angela. The certification is changing. It used to be a 2-year certification. It's changing to be more of an annual certification, annual continuing education. We're seeing that more and more in other fields of practice, that they have an annual recertification in place, annual training that they need to do to stay at the top of their game. All you need to do is to call the office, ask to talk to Teresa, who is the director of training, and she will, number one, look at where you are, tell you where you are and what you need to continue with that process. And we're developing more and more content to aid in that. We're working closely also, as you know, we are big supporters of the AOPP, the Association of PEMF Professionals. It's PEMFprofessionals.com. If you're not a member, please go check it out, become a member for a couple of reasons. You can have a dual certification. You can have a MagnaWave certification and the AOPP certification. You can, and they're different. They're covering the modality from different perspectives as well as of similar perspective, and it's supportive. The AOPP will reach out on our behalf, which they've done 2 or 3 times already this year in various states, answering various questions from states. As the FTC and the FDA starts asking more questions or wanting to know what we are doing and what other folks are doing, the AOPP is there to be an independent third party. As I've said a million times, if I call someone and say, well, this is how we feel about PEMF, they say, yeah, well, you're selling MagnaWave or you're selling devices. Well, believe me, it is more than that today. Yeah, and as I've said a million times, I believe in our business. I support our business. There's plenty of business for us and everyone else. And I want all the competitors to play fairly. I want all the competitors to be straightforward about what they're doing. I'm not saying that they aren't, but there could be things, and there's reasons for questions to be asked. And so the AOPP can be a very good third party when they reach out to a particular state or a particular regulatory board. They come at it from a position of professionalism. Dr. Dreesen is there, Lauren is there as our vice president, and we're working very hard, or they're working very hard. We're founding members of the AOPP, and if you're a manufacturer or a distributor and you want to participate in that, please do. Check out AOPP, because there is success in numbers as this grows, and I think that we'd be remiss if we didn't realize that as the modality continues to grow in the United States and other countries, it's considered mainline. In the United States, because of what the AMA did 150 years ago with acupuncture, massage, chiropractic, electromedicine, which is where we fall, and other things, we've had to basically rebuild that into a recognized state in the United States, and we're certainly going down that road. However, with expanded knowledge and expanded use, the regulatory boards are, what is that? Is it shockwave? Is it MagnaWave? Is it PEMF? What is it? How does it fit? What will it do? Are people making claims they shouldn't be making? We don't like to make claims. We don't want you to make claims. We want to talk about health and wellness and making things better. Now, with that said, and where things are kind of going is as far as with the AOPP, as I understand it, is they're trying to come up with a certification, or not a certification, if you will, but an accredited testing basis that anyone can get their training wherever they feel they've got enough training. They can go. It's like the CPA exam. You can go to school and get your CPA education, but then you have to go take your state's CPA exam, which is going to test you on what you picked up in school, what you learned in school. And again, it is third party. It's not someone just saying this is it and this is good. So we're trying to be the education source. We do have testing because we want you to know that you're getting into our understanding and what we believe, but you certainly can go take the AOPP testing and certification and have that additional credential. enough said. If you want to look at it, please do. The AOPP, Association of PMF Professionals, and have a look and help support that organization, which is doing a lot of good for all of us in the PMF and in our endeavors to be good practitioners to our clients. Let's see here. Any other questions? Well, I got a little windy on that one. Let's make sure there's not a phone call available to us. Oh, we do have a couple phone calls coming up, but let me get this first question here. Let me come back over here. Hello, treating a horse with sore stifles and hocks due to general wear and tear. I'm treating the whole body 40 minutes on low power with the Soul machine, and then treating each stifle and hock for 5 minutes. Do you think I should be spending longer time treating the hocks and stifle instead of the full body? Thank you. I would treat the full body, and I would maybe what you perhaps want to do, instead of going 40 minutes on the full body, because you are going to concentrate on the hocks and the stifle, do 30 minutes or 20 minutes. Do 10 minutes each side of the body, have a 20-minute, 25-minute treatment, and then increase the time on the stifles and the hocks from 5 minutes to maybe 10 minutes on each side. So your total time will be in the 40-minute range, but you're going to be able to spend more time on the areas of concern. And we used to do this all the time. When I would treat the whole body in 20 minutes. Then if I needed to go back and treat the feet or the ankles or the knee or the hock or the stifle, I would go to those areas and add time there. And it worked. It's not that you have to treat the full body for 40 minutes, because then all of a sudden you're turning into an hour and 10-minute treatment, and you need to be able, from a business perspective, you need to be able to do multiples a day in order to stay in business, in order to be successful. So just look at what you're doing time-wise. I've always maintained it's easier to give time than it is to take time away. And people don't understand you're taking time away, but people do understand when you're giving them some extra time. But your time that you're spending on the full body, if you do the shoulders, the top line, the hips, and the neck in that period of time, you're basically revitalizing and enhancing, energizing the blood flow and the blood oxygenation in that animal's body, which where's it going to go? To the legs, to the feet, to those areas. Now, if you have a situation there, go treat the situation and treat that for a period of time, and then you're good to go. I hope that helps with the question you asked, Matthew, and just think about that, think it through. If you want to talk about that, call the office and we'll go over that with you, talk to Teresa, or I'd be happy to visit with you, whatever. So Wendy says, great question. Let's see if we have any additional comments. Suggestions on the best way to communicate the benefits to various professionals to get my foot in the door in the city that PMF is not well known. Demo. Show somebody with a sore back what it does. Demo. That it really is. You can talk, you can tell them, well, we're doing the oxygen and we're doing the blood flow and this is happening. Oh, that's great. Thank you. But what about my back? Demo. That's all I can say is you think that you're going to demo yourself out of business. You're going to demo yourself into business. You're going to demo yourself into growth. If you got somebody that's never experienced it, have them experience it. Now, don't do this. Don't say, oh, I want to give you a sample. Here's 4 minutes. See how it felt? You got to treat them. You got to spend the time and treat their animal or treat themselves, and they'll understand what you're doing. Demo, demo, demo. You're going to get to a point, and I had this. I had people that I demoed, and they were taking it, and so there was a point then I said, okay, I'm good. I've given you demos. I've done this, so on and so forth. I've seen the results. Let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, then 3 weeks later, they would say to me, and this is when we started getting more practitioners, they'd say to me, oh, great, thanks. And yeah, okay, I got it. And so they would call one of the practitioners instead of calling me, which is fine, because they'd have to admit, yeah, okay, I did it and it helped. And you tried to tell me that it would help, but I'm go call this person. Or they'd go a period of time and they'd call me back and they'd say, hey, that really helped this horse. Come treat this. And then I'd say, okay, this horse. I've told the story about 2008 and 2009 when I thought we were done. The economy went to pieces. We thought we were a luxury item, and we thought we were going to basically be put out of business. And so what we did is we started treating to save people money, because everybody was concerned about money. We treated the neck area for $40, and we treated the shoulders and the top line for $40, and the hip and the back and the glutes for $40. So it was $120, which is what I was getting for a treatment, but I was doing it on 3 different horses, trying to keep business. And I did. But then what started to happen is they said, you know what, go ahead and do the whole horse. And then do the whole horse over here. But on this horse, just do the hips, because you can treat just the specific areas. But we had to learn how to do that. So you got to pivot. You got to be able to adjust. And this has been a year of pivoting. This has been with the whole new situation about being able to rent devices and do all of this, that Elaine's into that game and understands what's going on and how she's working with you on that. But there's a whole new pivot taking place. You just got to play the game. And you got to put it in place and work a strategy. I don't want to say play the game, work a strategy. Put a strategy in place and work it. And believe me, that's what I was talking about earlier, the community. We've got the community. We've got the people that have done this. If you're asking a question about what to do in Iowa, I guarantee you there's someone down the road in another state that's in an exact same situation as you may be. And going back to the question that the person asked, how to educate somebody that doesn't know much about it, news and views. 100 news and views newspapers for $35 or whatever it is, $35 is chock full of medical stuff, studies, animal questions, animal testimonials, human testimonials, how it's been used for health and wellness. Just so much there that you hand that to someone and they, wow. It's a website and a newspaper, basically. So news and views. If you're new to an area and they don't know much about it, leave it in the grocery store. Put 2 of them on the counter when you walk out of the grocery store, or when you go to visit your doctor. Leave a couple of them sitting in the waiting room. Whatever it is, you go to your dentist. Stop in and say hi to your dentist. Hey, doc, how you doing? Leave a couple of papers in the waiting room there. Ask them to leave the papers in the waiting room. I'm not trying to get you to sneak anything around, but I am saying that's a wonderful resource that's available to you, and you can use to help you further your professional life and further your business as you go forward. Okay, let's see. Benefits. We're so glad you're into. Oh, okay, someone writing back. Hi from hot and humid Iowa. Okay, let's see. I've got a phone call over here. Let me go over here and see who we have. Let's ring them up. Cheryl in California, 2 questions. Well, let's get Cheryl in California on the phone. Let her ask her questions and we'll have a conversation.
Hello?
Cheryl, Pat Ziemer, MagnaWave.
Hey, Pat. Thanks for calling. I had 2 questions for you.
All right.
Last week, you mentioned that the the human residence of the planet was decreasing, but I wondered where you find that information.
Well, you can Google the Earth's magnetic pull or the Earth's magnetic field, and you'll see where the magnetic field was 100 years ago and where it is today. I'm not saying that it's falling off, that it's going to disappear, but there has been a change. There is, as they're talking about, the Earth's changing somewhat on its axis and moving. And of course, we're not going to talk. I don't want to get into the whole global warming or the world's changing or what's happening, but we know this has been going on for hundreds of thousands of years, and we have to be able to deal with these changes and affect those changes as best as we can with our own use of things. But you can see that there has been some differences in the electromagnetic field of the Earth, and so you could look that up on Google and see that.
Yeah, that's what I did, and I didn't know if you had a special site. I saw that it was increasing, so I'm going to have to go back and look at some different ones. But my second question was about the MagnaGuard, the mats, and the guard for it. I was just wondering, is there any tests that you did for the PSI for it? Because I'm worried about like draft horses or Clydesdale stepping on it, and breaking like the coil. I know how it's wound in there, and I just don't want to damage the mat itself.
Well, we have done some testing, but it's hard to say when a draft horse is so much different than a standard horse, and so forth. And what I would do is what I need to do is I will talk with the folks at the office and the manufacturers of the mats, but certainly, the weight is important, but the coils themselves, the wire on the coil, if it's on a concrete surface and a large animal steps on it, can it damage the wire? Most certainly. If it's on a surface that has cushioning and they put the weight on it, and remember, a draft horse is very big, and certainly they have a lot of weight, but they're not going to be pouncing on what they're doing. If they step up and are controlled, then that's going to aid in that. But I will, and just to satisfy you and me and the rest of the listeners and viewers, get into that as to what can be done to make sure that it's protected as you're using it.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good questions, and certainly a lot of information out there that people may want to know and learn about as well. Let's see if we have anybody else. Let's come over here. I apologize for bouncing around, but I need to do that in order to be able to get your questions answered. Well, someone's sharing something. Yeah, Becky's in hot and humid Iowa. Okay, let's see, Pat. My wife and I recently purchased the Soul Pro with a full body PMF mat, using it every day. Your machine and attachments are very high quality and your customer service is superb. Thank you. I'm currently studying your educational certification programs and they're quite informative. Thank you. Well, Doug, thank you very much. I thought there'd be a question in there somewhere. I didn't read that for my own gratification, but certainly, Doug, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it and learning more, and that's the key, because you're going to become a professional and you're going to be able to educate me, and that's certainly what we want to have. Leilani says, moving to Aiken in a few weeks permanently for upcoming polo season. There you go. And Leilani is moving. Several people moving around here coming up soon. Let's see, new comments. Susan's with us from the United Kingdom. Thank you, Susan. Thanks for being here. It's later in the day there. It's earlier in the day in California, certainly. What is the Gauss of the XL Wave wings, the large mat and paddle when used with a semi machine? Okay, and the reason for that question is the Gauss, the semi machine with the paddle. The paddle are the butterfly. We measure with an attachment or in order to get some consistency in the number. And so we use the paddle or the butterfly because they will produce the most consistent high-powered signal. The paddle, for example, on the semi, we're looking at 3,000, 3,500 Gauss on the semi with the paddle. When you use the large loop, it drops down to 1,000. If you use the large wave wings, it's in the neighborhood of, I believe, the last time I looked at it, it's been a while, in the neighborhood of 700 Gauss. But that's where the semi with the butterfly, the large loop, or the wave wings fall under or right at 1,000 Gauss, which is the magic number as far as the FEI is concerned, as far as the strength of a device that can be used. And they published that a couple of years ago when they came out with a ruling. And there's been some ways that people have danced around that question and been able to use machines in those environments. But if you get right down to at its maximum ability, what machine do you have again? I'm sorry. Semi, yes. With the semi machine, the paddle will produce in the neighborhood of 3,000 Gauss, the large loop in the neighborhood of 1,000, the butterfly probably also in the neighborhood of 1,000, but the large wave wings, because of the size of the loop, the size of the circle that's there, diminishes the actual Gauss output. It does not diminish how that affects the massive tissue area that you're covering with the large wave wings. For example, I've had people using the large wave wings on a low setting or a medium setting on the semi and get a lot of movement. They don't put it on high because they get too much movement because of the amount of tissue that we're approaching. Whereas with the paddle, it's small, it's direct, it's right there. It doesn't seem as intense, but it's delivering more energy. And because of the way it's an actual it's an actual coil, and it's an actual Tesla coil designed by Nikola Tesla, and that's how it plays out. So that's the basis on those areas. There are some listings on the website that show the maximum delivery with either the butterfly or the paddle to read, so there is consistency, because people will tell you how strong their machines are. Oh, they'll do this, but they're not telling you that it changes from attachment to attachment because of the way the attachment or the size of the attachment. But no matter how, let me look here. I need to look at the text over here. Riza, I'll do that. So that's how that plays out in the world of Gauss. Okay, let's see. Okay, Reza asked the question, have you ever looked at the text there or here? When I look at, let me see here, check my text. Let's see, just have a monologue. No, I mean, I don't see any additional messages. If you have a message for me, just put it in there, Riza, and I will be happy to answer the text or the message that you're sending. Perfect, thank you. Okay, just a monologue. All right, let me come over here. Beamer is becoming a huge issue in my area. Is there anything I can print as a comparison to hand out to customers? You can use the MagnaWave news and views. There are some pages on the site that do make some comparisons between some of the lower power units. The Beamer unit is a low voltage, low power, low voltage, low frequency unit. We are a high voltage, low frequency unit. And so people are making, I don't want to say claims, because they shouldn't be making claims if they are, but people are saying, oh, well, this will do this and this will do that. My explanation is that magnetic therapy, PEMF therapy is all good. The issue becomes the speed. And so what you can talk about with people, ask them to put another unit on their back for 10 minutes. And then put your unit on their back for 10 minutes. And 95% of the time, using a high voltage, low frequency unit like we have for 10 minutes as compared to some of the lower power units, they won't feel anything. Number one, they won't feel the unit going. Number two, they will not have an immediate relief or an immediate inflammation reduction that will provide an immediate relief, whereas with our units, you will. That's basically what powered us from the beginning. There was a point in the equine world, which is where I was. In the equine world where I was, is that there were class 3 lasers, and they worked fine, but they were not as good as a class 4 laser. They weren't as fast as a class 4 laser. So we come along, and there were a bunch of low powered blankets, very effective. They worked very well. The horses had to wear them 30 minutes every day, sometimes twice a day. And the biggest thing I would see, because I sold them, I was representing a company, and they're a very good company. I love them. But the people were having difficulty using them because they had 15 horses. And so you'd have to think about using this thing 30 minutes a day on all these animals. And the next thing that happens is they didn't use them because they were looking for something to give them a more immediate result. And that's what I got, and that's what we experienced, my wife and I, when we were first exposed to these high-powered units, is my wife with 3 herniated discs, pain all the time in her shoulder, couldn't raise her arm above here, sat down for 8 minutes, and bingo, no pain, total mobility, only lasted a couple of days, but she had it. And it was instantaneous. And that's what happened when I got my first machine and started traipsing around the horse shows. Hey, can I show you what this thing will do? Oh, sure. Treat the horse for 20 minutes. just the upper body. They'd get on that horse and come back saying, oh my God, it changed leads. It had better range of motion. It paid attention to what I was saying and following my command. And instantaneously, that's what propelled us. Same thing, same time with the class 4 lasers. Us and the class 4 laser were like this, just occurring at the same time. And people were learning. Difference is the class 4 laser, you got to know what you're doing. You got to understand what the laser will do, because you can do some damage if you're not properly trained in utilizing this class 4 laser. It can be hot or cold. And whereas with what we're doing, it's very difficult, extremely difficult to overdo it, extremely difficult to put it at a setting that's going to hurt something, because with some modalities you can do something in seconds, and whereas with us, if it's too high, the animal's going to walk away. It's not going to let you treat it. And so you have those types of things that you learn over time, and you pick up with every time you're involved in learning and treating the animal. So that's where we are with the various issues. Understand, tell them it's instantaneous, it's quick. Let me show you, and that way they'll see the difference. I have no qualms. I have no problem with Beamer. It's a good piece of equipment. It's slower than we are. That's all. I mean, I use a unit that is probably 15 times stronger than the Beamer. I know it is. It's producing 500 Gauss, where the Beamer produces 35 Gauss at a max. No problem with that. Please don't misunderstand me. But every night, I sleep with this device every night. I've got it so it can run for 8 hours. It's the B2 unit, and so I'll sleep with it. What am I doing specifically? I'm treating my head and shoulders. Hey, I'm 72 years old. I'm scared to death of having issues as I age. And so I want to do things to have good resilience in my head, in my brain. I want my body to have good resilience and healthy. And so that's what I do. That's but I still get up, and if I have a back problem, I get my machine and I treat just my back. And so that's how it flows in that position. So when you're in your neighborhood and you are going to have competition, and people are going to say things, just simply say, let's do a comparison. Let me treat your back and see how you feel, and go on. Price wise, we have devices that will compete with some of those machines now, price wise, that are in fact several times more energy producing devices than what some of the other devices are. And so that's it. And people will tell you that. You just, I always say, pick your family and work hard as a family, as a community, together. That's the best way to approach it. There is, you can print things, you can go to the website and we address it, or you can use the news and views to really put some professional emphasis behind what you're trying to do in your community. Good morning, Deborah. Thank you for being with us. We have some additional comments. Let's see here. Let me get it. Okay, so here we go. Sorry, these are separate questions. Could you please tell me if there's any way to get news and views over here cheaply? Susan, are you in the UK, I think? I tried to order on the website, but it's quoting about $350 to deliver. I have a meeting set up pretty soon with a racehorse vet, so it would be great if I could give one to him and fellow vets. There's a couple of ways to approach this. Contact your sales professional or your salesperson, product specialist. Contact your product specialist at MagnaWave, and we can look at how we can bundle that to be able to ship it to you in as economic as a format as possible. However, to that end, if you need 10 copies that we can put in an overnight envelope and send to you through FedEx or something else, that is certainly possible to you. So there's ways to pay what you're going to have to pay because of where you're located, but you don't have to pay the max to get this very large bundle. So you can approach it from that that type of situation. I hope that helps. Is there Any plans to develop anything like the Beamer blanket? It seems to be a big draw to using Beamer unit from what I am hearing. Well, as a matter of fact, there are. We are in the process of putting together a way to have a blanket. Now you have that if you take the large wave wings and you put them over the horse, over their hips or over their shoulders. You're only going to do it for 5 or 6 minutes, not 30 minutes or not an hour. So you can get the same thing. You just got to remember how you tell the story, how you project this to the people. You have that. But you know, for years, I used to tell the factory, look, we need more attachments. We had the butterfly and the large loop. That's it. And we're not doing anything. We don't need to. You can do everything you want to do with that butterfly and the large loop. So we did. And we absolutely did. But, you know, what people want begins to win, if you will, because you're right. You're the customer. And so the first one we made was for a veterinarian in Tennessee, and we made one large, whatever you want to call it, one large lasso loop that he would put over the horse's head, rest on the chest area of the horse, and do the head, shoulders, neck, all with one large loop. And he got remarkable results without having to move, you know, all over the body. So that's where that began, was with that veterinarian in Tennessee. And so then it became the wings, and, you know, so there's many different ways to use it. So we are continuing the full body mats and all of that. And yes, we are in the process of seeing how we can integrate and have a blanket. The struggle with that is that when you're using a high-powered unit like we have, if you need more on the left shoulder than the right shoulder, on a blanket, it's universal. Wherever you put the control is what it's going to be through the whole blanket. And we'd like to feel that we can pinpoint this area higher, this area lower, and do it like that. Be more of a practitioner. Whereas with the blanket, you put it on, you hit a setting, there it is. And that's what you get. And you maybe are limited in where you turn it up because it's too much on this right shoulder if you turn it up too high and they're uncomfortable. So then you turn it down. Well, then now you're turning it down everywhere. So there's thoughts on that and what is the best way to approach it. And that's what we're working on. And to answer your question, we're heading down that road in some fashion. Okay, let's see here. Should we suggest treating polo horses prior to the polo game for the best result? Usually treatments are requested after a game or event. However, with 10 horses for each player, there are 40 horses. What would you suggest time and treatment-wise for a quick treatment prior to the game? Well, great question, Leilani. And you know, I've been talking about resilience, and they'll run their 10 horses. They'll switch off a horse when it gets tired, and they go to the next horse, and that horse is done for the day. It's resting, it's grazing, whatever they're doing, and then they go to the next. And so their next thought is the next match. Is it next week? Is it 2 weeks? And quite often, if they have 10 horses that they're cycling through a game, they got another 10 somewhere else that maybe they're going to pick 2 or 3 of them in, and these 3 stay home because they're sore or they're tired. So there's certainly a situation there with recovery. And if you had a particular horse that they really like and they're really doing, and they want to run this horse, or they want to put this horse in the game, you could treat that horse for 10 or 15 minutes prior to the match and help their shoulders and help them feel better and be ready to go, and good range of motion and good stamina, because we improve their stamina. When we have good blood flow and good blood oxygenation, the stamina is there. I used to tell people, I had some folks come over from Dubai, and they said, well, we need our horses, our camels to run faster. I said, I don't know that I can really help your camel run faster, but I think I can help your camel run fast longer, and which means they're running faster in some senses, how you shake that up. So Leilani, I would look at the recovery period, the resilience, so that horse can recover as rapidly as possible and have a better position to move forward. But certainly they're going to say, these are the 4 horses. Every time I go, I like these 4 horses to be with me, with these backups to be there as well. But if I can stay on top of these 4, so you could be treating those 4 horses the day before the match or the morning of the match, before the match, treat those 4 horses for 20 minutes or so, get them good and get them ready to go, and then come back to the resilience or the recovery. When I first started, it was all about make my horse jump higher, run faster, perform better, and do this. Then, as we began to having practitioners more and more and people understanding what was going on, it became, oh my, we can help the recovery period of our horse. We can make our horse feel better tomorrow after this strenuous exercise and performance. We can make it feel better tomorrow, which means it's going to recover over the next few days in a more pleasant, fashionable, or pleasant way of having recovery. So let's see. Let's see. We got somebody who wants to talk on Castbox. Let's see how I do this. Porky wants to call in. Support the call group. Yep, support the call group. Let's see where Porky is. Don't know. Come on, Porky. Oh, I lost Porky. Porky's on Castbox. Okay, we'll figure that out. I need to get a little better at that. Susan, let's see. Other question was, please, I'm working on a dog with a huge fatty tumor. Can I expect this to reduce in size? And guidelines, please. We have watched and seen, Dr. Marty's got a video where he talks about treating a tumor on a dog, and he put the coil, could hardly get the butterfly over the tumor. And in a period of a 15 or 20 minute treatment, watched that tumor decrease in size. Now, again, you always want to be talking with your veterinarian and what's going on and have their understanding of what's doing. What we have seen happen on our own dogs and other dogs is, yes, in many cases, you can see the tumor reduce. You can see it lose some of its inflammation and basically reduce. Elaine's dog had a tumor the size of a softball on its neck, took it to the veterinarian. They said, oh my God, this is horrible. It's cancerous. We got to get it off. And so let's do it. And Elaine came back. We'll do it in 2 weeks. Elaine came back, started treating the dog. In 2 weeks, went back. It was the size of a quarter. They were able to very easily exercise, cut the tumor out and go forward. And this has been 7 years ago. And the dog is now 16, 17 years old and doing as well as it can for that age. And so, yes, you can very well potentially expect that to happen. Now, I don't understand all the tumors. I don't understand what specific type of tumor you're dealing with, certainly a fatty tumor. But that could potentially be the result that you see, just like you see in anything else that we're trying to improve, reduce the inflammation to make things more easily manageable for health purposes. Okay, great question. My son crashed his dirt bike and this resulted in a body injury and a shattered spleen. Do you think 9 days post-injury is okay to treat the full body on him? Again, you want to talk to your doctor as to how they feel the spleen is doing, but what do we want to happen? We want good oxygenated blood to aid in the recovery process of that. Do you need to treat the spleen specifically? No. You can treat the upper back and the lungs to get good energized blood moving through the body, which will help the overall capability of the body to heal itself wherever it is. So, the doc may say, I don't want to do it right on that spot. Okay, let's do the lungs and shoulders. Let's get the upper body. Let's get the good stuff going on in the, because that's what we're doing. We're supplying energy. We're supplying the vitamin of energy to the body for the body to utilize. And we're not doing anything. We're not healing anything. We're not going after anything like that. We're just positioning the body to be in a position to better heal itself. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope your son feels better. Let us know. Please keep us up to speed on what's going on with his recovery. Can you cover eye issues such as macular degeneration? There have been some folks who have felt that they've had good results with regard to macular degeneration. Basically, you're going to, how many times do I say it a day? That you're going to help the blood flow and the oxygenation in that area of the eyes by putting the coil up to the eyes and penetrating that and putting it in a state to, again, heal itself. And so can that be there? Now, there's been some folks that have used massive amounts of C60 along with some PEMF for macular degeneration that have seen some very good results there. Max talks about that. I need to do another interview with Max and really get more deeply specific into some of those areas again. It's been a few years since we've addressed that, but you're not going to do any harm to be able to come here and just simply put some nice energy into the area to enhance that area's ability to deal with itself. Can I say that you're going to put this up there and you're going to heal macular degeneration? No, I won't say that, and I don't know that you can, but I do know that you can help the body be prepared to deal with itself. What is the max Gauss output for the full body travel mat? Well, Terry, that again varies depending on which machine you're using, and it is spread out. That on that full body mat, you do have 3 coils basically in that device, or in some cases, there's a couple of coils up by the shoulders, and then one for the lung area, and then another one for the low back, and another one for the buttocks, legs area. So they're just 2 or 3 different designs that we've utilized there. And I don't know, off the top of my head, I don't have the Gauss delivery for that, but I'm going to guess, depending, let's just talk mid-range machine, let's talk Pulse Pro or Maya device that has maximum Gauss output in the 9,000 range, potentially 8,000-9,000 range. When you spread that coil out and put it in the large body mat, you're probably getting down into the 700 to 1,000 Gauss area. Maybe, again, I don't want to inflate that. I'd rather be less and have you get the results you're looking for. So you could be dealing with 500 to 700 Gauss in that type of delivery system, compared to 30 Gauss from some of the low power units that are mats. And what do you want? You want the energy. You want to get what you need. It's like a vitamin. You put it in there, and if the body doesn't need it, it's not going to use it. But if you put it in there and the body needs it, it's going to be glad that it's got it. So that's where I would go there. I will, if Emily will make a note, we'll get with our folks and get a test of that to tell you what the Gauss output is on the large body mat. Thank you for asking the question. Just found out our dog has an enlarged heart. Seems healthy otherwise. What do you recommend and how to do a treatment? I would do a overall body treatment. And again, there's obviously a reason for that situation, whether it's anatomical, whether it's hormonal, whether it's whatever might be going on with the body. And so what we want to do is to provide the body in the best position to better deal with itself. And so we want good blood flow. We want good oxygenation. We want to support the heart as best as possible. And so that's where the veterinarian is going to be. But I would, again, recommend a full body treatment. Let the dog lay on a mat or lay on the large coil and just help it feel better and be in a better position to deal with what's going on. Session for digs okay, recommendation, Sandy. Okay. We'll get into that as well. Perhaps Teresa, Sandy, you might want to talk to Teresa in the training department. She can come to that a little bit. We can also reach out to Dr. Amanda and talk with her about, from a human perspective, how to approach something like that in order to deal. If the doctor can talk about it, how the results and how things would work on a human, you can translate that into an animal, or we can talk to a veterinarian that's dealt with these situations and specifically bring it back to the animals. Hope that helps, and we'll go forward. Yep, Sandy, you're welcome. A current client of mine is asking for a friend about PEMF helping with her friend's eyes. She had cataract surgery 2 years ago, and ever since has had very sensitive eyes, and they hurt all the time. So you think this could help? Most assuredly. If she's having, I had cataract surgery last, I guess, September. I kind of lost track. I think it was in last August. And I wear sunglasses now much more than I ever wore them before because of the sensitivity. She's talking 2 years ago. My doctor told me it's going to be a year before you are totally healed, if you will, totally in place with what's going on. I don't know that may not be longer. And so sensitivity is there. Sensitivity is something that we need to deal with. Sensitivity, pain is inflammation. Can we put this coil here and treat that area to help relieve that inflammation and the scarring, or where they put, if they put a lens, either they probably did put a lens, or what they did to help that heal that or move that healing process along in a more fashion, in a better fashion, then most certainly. And so that's where it is. If you have sensitivity, that's what you got. What I do is I'm doing something, and all of a sudden I sit up and we go to soccer matches, and we're in shade. There's nothing going on, but as I look out across the soccer field and the sun is shining over there or back off the corner, it's really not coming at me, but just the brightness in the stadium. I put my sunglasses on, and I approach it from that situation, and that makes a difference immediately. Why? Because the irritant has been reduced. Well, that irritant is also inflammation, so address the inflammation with the coil over the face, and very low, let it do its job, let it work, and that could certainly, we look forward to you getting back to us and telling us what you think. My goodness, it's 1:01. Wow, what a day. A lot of questions today. I hope I didn't miss anything. Did we have any additional people call in? Nope, 2 questions answered from California. So listen, it's been wonderful to be here with you. I enjoy it every time. A lot of good information this week. Think about it. If maybe it's community hours, maybe it's community growth, whatever. And I'm not saying we have to change the name. I'm just kind of thinking you guys are wonderful. You guys bring so much education and good questions to the table that everybody, and that's what goes on. If you read this thread, you'll see people answering the same questions that I'm answering at the same time. And I've seen answers that are most certainly better than my answers, and or at least maybe in perhaps better detail, because they're in the field doing it every day now where I'm not. But we still can approach it from that situation. So, wow. Thank you for being with me. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Big things coming up next week, and for everybody else going down the line, we love you guys. Wave on to better health. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Bye-bye.